not going to talk about what time of night it is right now. Hello everybody and welcome back to Lilith's Attic. My name is Julia Pasqua and it is another Tarot Card Tuesday. If you have been following along in this series, you know that we are in the Cup suit, and this week we have the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is known as the saddest card in the tarot deck. A little bit of a downer. As you can see in the image, we have a man here bent over wearing a black robe. He is in mourning, he is in grieving, he is just sad. His 3 cups by his feet are spilled out, representing that he has lost something. These cups are empty and obviously not on purpose. They have been knocked over, they have been spilled over. It is a sad moment for him. He also is separated from the rest of everybody by this river, so he's not even having anyone around during this time of mourning. He is very separate and off away from the group, from other people, from this village. There are 2 cups behind him, which he cannot see because he has not turned around, and these 2 cups represent hope. It's kind of like how we had that rear view mirror versus windshield situation last week, where if you're too busy looking in the rear view mirror, you can't really look in the windshield. It's a little bit different though, where you're grieving and you're mourning what is lost and you cannot see the hope that is right behind you. So if you pull the Five of Cups, you are going through a period of grief, you're going through a period of sadness, you're working on moving your way through the stages of grief till you hit acceptance. You're not quite there yet. If you pull the Five of Cups, it's your time to sit in the grief, to just kind of let it overtake you, be this man in that black robe, and realize that you have lost something and it is sad and it's okay to be sad. If you pull this card in reverse, it's the first time that a reverse card is actually better than an upright card. If you pull this card in reverse, it is not as sad of a card. If you pull it in reverse, it means that you are starting to move away from those feelings of grief and despair and hopelessness, and you're kind of starting to be able to turn around and see those 2 full cups. All right, you guys. So exciting. Let's go make the saddest card in the tarot deck. Come on, guys. All right, so for my Five of Cups, now I know I've told you that I have started a card over before, completely scrapped an idea and started fresh. This is the first time in me making these cards that I have made a full card to completion, filmed it, did the whole shebang, and then started over. I looked at it and I was like, this is not capturing what I want it to capture. There's not enough raw emotion in this. And you can kind of see in these videos, the beginning of this speed drawing section is a little bit messier than normal because I wasn't sure if I was even going to use the second draft or if my first draft was good enough. I was kind of just having this internal struggle because I really wanted to show grief. Now my thought and what I've been doing with these cups is I love having them being poured out. I think that's a really fun motion to get into these cards with the cups. I think that's half the fun of doing cups. Like with the 2 of Cups, I had it being poured into 2 people. So I wanted these cups to be being poured onto this figure and then almost going into other cups, kind of representing that hope. Like when you've accepted grief, you kind of just recycle your emotions and turn it into love and turn it into remembering things better versus having all this sadness inside of you. So I knew I wanted the cups coming down, being poured over this woman into the 2 other cups, representing that hope. Now when I did it the first time, she looked too pretty. She looked too content. She looked too comfortable. And grief is anything but comfortable. Grief is so uncomfortable and painful and blinding and overtaking, and it just envelops you. Grief is enveloping. And if this is truly the sadness and despair card, I almost feel like this original card with just a man in a cloak looking disappointed doesn't fully capture what grief is. So when I started over, and I just let my emotions come out and I just really tried to put in feelings of what grief feels like. I got this woman who is blinded. She is being drenched and drowned almost by these cups being poured on top of her. She cannot see. Her hair's in her face. The water or wine or whatever is being spilled on her is in her face. She can't really breathe. She's kind of reaching out, trying to find where she is or trying to reach some hope, but she is so clueless as to what the heck is going on because grief is just paralyzing. Even though these cups are being poured into other cups, like the wine is being caught as it drips down her, she's not going to completely drown. She has some receptacles catching these cups. There is hope. The hope almost still also is paralyzing her. She's stuck in the other 2 cups. She can't see because of the grief. She can't even figure out what she's standing in. She is so turned upside down by the grief and the despair that she's just stuck. And I think that's what the original Five of Cups was trying to show us, you know, being away from people, being unable to look behind you at those 2 cups because you're just so heavy with grief. And I wanted to portray that trapped, that heavy feeling, that there's hope that she could step out. She's got her foot out, she's reaching out, she's searching for something, she's physically reaching her arm out for hope. But there is just so much grief being poured on top of her that she is completely blinded to anything else but surviving at this point. And that is the hard truth of grief. It's just about survival and getting through. Eventually those cups are going to run out of things to be pouring on her head. She can look down at the situation, assess it, and move forward. All right, you guys, and that is the Five of Cups. That is the final draft of the Five of Cups. One day I might share the other card that is completely done, but I think for now I don't. I really know that this card is portrayed now how I want it to portray it, and I worry if I show the other card because I think it's artistically a little bit more appealing. This is the Five of Cups that I want to go with for this deck though. So maybe one day I'll show a little behind the scenes and show what I drew the first time, but for now, this is the one and only one that exists. Oh boy, okay, the message for this week. My message to all of you is if you're going through something that you are grieving, even though it's blinding, remember that those cups will run out of liquid and eventually you can look down and see the other two you're standing in and figure out how you're going to do life. But right now you just got to survive and push through, and there is another side to it. There are 2 more cups waiting for you. Well, thank you guys as always so much for being here. The tarot deck, like life, some cards are very up, some cards are very down, and even when we have those down cards, it's just a part of our up and down of life. So thank you for being here, even for the saddest card on the tarot deck. I hope you all have a fabulous and wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here and for the support, and I will see you next Tuesday. Mwah! Bye, guys. I feel like I don't have enough for the outro.